Hello and happy Friday. Welcome to the channel. This is Fridays with Brandon, and today we're going to do something new. We're going to talk about a different brand than normal. This is a Brady label maker. It's the BMP21-Plus. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk through this. I've used it some. I'm at the office at one of our properties, our trucking and warehouse company, and recently I put in a new lift there, or the new control panel for the lift, and I had to label a bunch of cables. So we'll take you up there, I'll show you that, and then we'll go through what I like about this label maker, and then hopefully I'll be getting some other more advanced label makers in the future to kind of review and go over, give you some tips and tricks, and hopefully it'll be beneficial. I will say, where does this one play? This one, where I think it really plays in the market, is for the typical electrician that kind of does everything and is mobile, where they're not making a ton of repeat of the same label necessarily, but they're labeling a breaker panel, or they're labeling, like you'll see here, cables or wires inside of a control panel. It's a one-time job. They're on site and they're doing stuff. So anyways, it's pretty cool. There's a lot of options with cartridges. We might talk a little bit more about that later, but let's jump into it. I'll show you what I did, and then we'll have this in front of us and kind of go through some of the features. See you in a sec. Okay, so this is what I did. I had all these wires running in. You can see tons of wires, but you can see I've got these labels here, all made on that Brady label maker. And it was very helpful to know where I was going in these terminal blocks, because they were already pre-labeled. And even these that are coming in, I've got the different floors listed out, all made on that Brady label maker. So anyways, we'll talk about it as I review the label maker. Okay, let's talk through this thing. So, from what I've seen online and other places, it seems like your best option if you're going to buy this, I mean, you can spend money on getting the rechargeable battery kit, but there's really no need. Just get 6 AA batteries. You should have AA's laying around anyways, and you can always put fresh batteries in as you need them. And it's going to save you $100. So this is just around $100 with one cartridge that comes with it. It should be pretty self-explanatory. Obviously, you got your power button. Here's where well, before I get ahead of myself, here's where the cartridge goes. This either locks it in or not, right? So you unlock it, you want it to come out, got to push this to eject it, and you can put different cartridges in. There are tons of different cartridges. The cartridges are various kinds, and then obviously various colors. So this one is white on brown, as we'll see over here, what I've made some already. Power button, so you can turn it on if you want. Other things, just like how this works. So this is the shift button, which then activates all the yellow parts of all these buttons. They all have dual functions. This is your navigation block, and then enter is right here. If you do want to make a second line of text, you have to hit that if you want to go down the second line. Okay, so hopefully pretty simplistic. Now, if you just want to print, you just hit print and it'll print for you. So this is kind of your standard print. To cut it, you squeeze these together. You don't have to turn it over like that, but I thought you'd like to see it. And I don't know my settings, but I printed this little bitty thing. That's not, let's see. Oh, I'm on B. So we're going to go into, let's do another one. Instead of vertical, let's do it horizontal text, and print, and cut, and there we go. Okay, so that's kind of what you're expecting. But if you want to, I think kind of the really cool feature is obviously you can do lots of different label types, but then like you can do labels that will do shrink wrap, that you can go over wires. You can do labels that actually have Velcro capability for wire bundles. That's kind of cool. And then there's like a nylon and a vinyl, and they have different applications. But this label type button right here, let's go through this and kind of talk through, talk through a few things. So we've got the banner label, kind of like what we just saw. And you can see right here, this is supposed to be mimicking your tape, and it shows you A1, kind of the direction it would be labeled, right? Now you get into wire markers. This, you tell what gauge wire you're going to be in, and then it's going to print something like this, and it's going to have, let's see if I can get this really focused for us. It's going to have something like this, and depending on how big your wire gauge is, it'll print more lines of this so that it'll wrap all the way around. And you could see that if you backed up in the video and saw on that control panel what I did. Some of the bigger gauge wires have that all the way around so you don't have to rotate it to see what you're doing. Okay, we'll go back. Wire marker, we already did that. Terminal block. I'm not sure that this is something you're going to want to do with this printer. If you're labeling many terminal blocks, it's probably not the right printer for you, but we can go through it a little bit. You can turn series 1 on, terminal 1, okay. And we can say 12 maybe. Okay. Let's see what happens. So again, teeny tiny print. I'm not sure this is what you want if you're doing much terminal block. I think there's better printers from Brady for this application. Let's go back to this. Patch. Okay, fixed length. I think this would be cool if you are either doing breakers. There's going to be another breaker panel one in a second, but if you're labeling breakers or labeling something and you know exactly how wide of a space you have for that label, you can do this, have a fixed label or fixed length, and then just print all of them the same length. That's kind of a cool feature. I would like that if I was doing breakers, because sometimes I'll label a breaker and I label it too long, and then it becomes too big of a label, and I'm like wrapping it around, and it just looks awful. So it's much better if you had to figure out what size label you have, space you have, and print them all that way. Let's go back. Terminal block, patch panel, okay. Banner portrait. So this one, you can see down here, this one is going up and down. So that would be this example of a printout. If you want it to go up and down like that, okay. And you can have horizontal text or you can have vertical text, okay. I think that was vertical text actually, this one. Okay, let's go back. Vial. Again, if you're just labeling 1 or 2 vials, this could probably work for you, but if you're in a lab and you're doing lots of vials, probably want to talk to Brady about a different printer than this guy. It's not going to be for that. This is kind of cool. I looked this up in the user manual. So it says breaker box, and the breaker box, if you click it, it says 3/4 inch media only. So you got to have larger, you got to have 3/4 inch cartridge in here. But if you have that, it's really cool. You can essentially type everything out for your whole panel, and you tell it whether it's a two-pole breaker or one single pole, or if it's 3-phase, and it will space it correctly and then print you out one continuous thing that's printed more vertically like this, 3/4 inch wide, with tiny writing and lines between each breaker. And then you just do one continuous piece of tape on there that labels all your breakers. That's a really cool feature if you want to get into that and make your job look really professional. And then this flag, I printed one of these. This is a flag, so it prints 2, as you can imagine. If you want to wrap it around a cord, so let me grab a cord. If you have a cord, you could wrap it around. Obviously, you'd have to take the adhesive off and stick it to itself, and then you'd have the flag on the side. So anyways, this is kind of a quick overview of the BMP21-Plus. Brady's just known in the industry as kind of the gold standard for label makers, and I don't think you're going to be disappointed if you get this. My one recommendation would be do get the regular battery one. Don't get the rechargeable. I don't think unless you're a super heavy user, you're ever going to need that rechargeable. And if you are a super heavy user, you might not want this. The other thing, when we talked about labeling the breaker box and stuff, I'm hoping I'll get another one of these label makers that has has the ability to connect to your smartphone. I have a feeling it would be far easier to design it on your smartphone than through this interface. I'll try to get a 3/4 inch label to play with it on both, but my guess is the one that connects to your phone would be much better than this one. So anyways, good to talk with you guys again. I hope this was helpful. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. I will have affiliate links in the description below if you want to either buy a cartridge, maybe you want to try that 3/4 inch and try the breaker box, or if you want to, you're thinking about buying a label maker, feel free to click on that and support the channel. Thank you guys. Thanks and take care, if I could speak.